Hello everyone and good morning. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 10C. Myself Adesh Bazare and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GIA Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 10th International Conference on ICT for Sustainable Development, ICT4SD 2025, Goa, India. The 10th edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event took place on 17th of July 2025 in Goa, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from 17 to 19 July 2025. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions through the day. In this session, we have 10 presentations. Each presenter will be given 10 minutes for the presentations and 2 minutes for questions and answers. On 9 minutes, I'll raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in chat box. Now, just before we start the session, I would like you to introduce you to the chair for this session, Professor Anita Domre. Ma'am is an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Artificial Intelligence at Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, Pune, India, with over 12 years of academic experience. Her work spans a wide range of innovative domains, including AI in healthcare, robotics, intelligent systems, and smart technologies. She has published extensively in reputed international journals and conferences with notable research in AI powered systems such as smart dustbins, biometric authentication, and disease detection. I request Professor Anita to share her opening remarks with our presenters.
Hello, everyone. Um, I'm very excited to listen all the technical papers today, which will be technically rich and which will be having insightful presentations. So yeah, I'm very excited. Yes, we can start with.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let's commence with our presentations. The first paper to be presented is a systematic review of denial of service attack resilience in IEEE 802.11 networks. The paper will be presented by Audumbar Londe.
Okay. Want to share the PPT?
Yes.
Okay. Just a minute. Huh. Uh, okay. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to Judge, a reviewer for the today's session. I'm Audumbar Londe, presenting the systematic review of denial of service attack resilience in IEEE 802.11 network. When we talk about the 802.11 network, we know that it comes for the Wi-Fi, and significantly we know that the wireless network is more uh, comes under the different types of attack or vulnerable to different types of attack. So most common attack in this type of network is nothing but the denial of service attack. We know that in a denial of service attack, it exploit the protocol weaknesses, resource limitation, and can disturb the network, which will makes that the whatever the legitimate users are there, they will not able to get the service. That is, it denies the service to the legitimate user or the client in a network. So we have did a systematic review of the denial of service attack and the resilience or mitigation of the denial of service attack in the network with the advancements in a technology such as the ML model or DL model can be used for the resilience. So that we have just proposed the system by systematic review. So my agenda for the today's presentation: introduction, problem statement, objective, type of attack, vulnerabilities, literature review, assessment, discussion, and a conclusion with proposed model in assessment and discussion. So very first part is introduction. So IEEE 802.11 enables the broad wireless connectivity that we know that it is a foundation of Wi-Fi networks, allowing the devices to communicate wirelessly across the wide range of environment. And its flexibility and ability have made its foundation of personal enterprises and industrial network in an infrastructure. Nowadays, in a critical what we can say, the critical foundation for the preparing the environment for the healthcare or the industrialization. And DOS attack threaten the availability in a critical systems that we have seen. Just I talk about the critical systems such as the healthcare system. So denial of service attacks exploits the vulnerability in 802.11 protocol to disrupt the connectivity. Very main aim of the denial of service attack is to disrupt the connectivity and overload the access points. When it makes the overload the access points, then definitely the connectivity to the different legitimate user or authenticated user will may not get the service from the access point. So this can prevent the user from accessing the essential services, leading to the serious functional backgrounds in affected system. So high impact on the mission critical applications that when DOS attack targets the application like health monitoring or financial services, and consequences can serve severe and immediate consequences can happen when it comes to the financial services or healthcare monitoring system. Those systems rely on real-time communication. We know that the healthcare system or financial system nowadays we are using, that will be a wireless financial service system, and mostly that will rely on the real-time communication, making the network disruption potentially life-threatening or economical damaging may happen. So to mitigate from this, there will be a different mitigation strategies which makes the vital for the network reliability. We know that the reliable network is very important whenever we connect to any network for getting the different services or for the different applications. A reliable network is very important. So without a strong and adaptive defense, IEEE 802.11 network remains exposed to frequent and evolving DOS threats. So there may be a robust mitigation technique are essential to maintain the service continuity, security, and user trust. So based on this introduction, we have made a problem statement, that is, we know that the common DOS attack techniques threatening the IEEE 802.11 network includes what are the different types, that is deauthentication flooding, disassociation attacks, authentication request flooding, association request flooding, cascading DOS. Those attacks overwhelm the network resources. So these attacks are nothing but they are accessing the access point and making the access point overloaded, so that it leads to the service disruption or potential security breaches. So to address those challenges, this research proposed a machine learning based intrusion detection system for detecting and mitigating DOS attack in IEEE 802.11 network. So object for this research is nothing but the review the 802.11 DOS threats. So it goes for the different uh, review of the different attacks in IEEE 802.11, then analyzing the mitigation technique and research trends. So it evaluates the existing defense strategies and highlighting the modern strategies, and then proposing the intelligence IDS using machine learning. So designing the smarter capable system for adaptive DOS detection. So these are the different types that we have reviewed, that is IEEE 802.8 threats or the attacks targeting the Wi-Fi protocols. So these are the different attacks, we can say association, authentication, and association flooding. Here, the attacker floods the AP, that is access point, with the fake joining request to exhaust the resources. In the same way, this is for the authentication request, and in association, it sends the de-association request or association request for the from the access point for the getting the request for authentication, and it says the acknowledgement for the association. Here, that association and authentication flooding happens. The cascading DOS, that is CDOS, we can call it. A single attack spread the disruption across the multiple access point. We can say that this is as a distributed denial of service attack. Then de-authentication and de-association. Here, hackers spoofs the network, where we can say that this attack is between the Wi-Fi and user. So to make the user to lose the connection, it sends the de-authentication request to the legitimate user and connect continuously, makes that network available to the legitimate user, and they make them to associate with the new network controlled by the user. So hackers use the disconnect message to drop the user from the current network, and they will join to the new network available. Block SCK framework or PS a pole-based DOS attack. So it involves the smoothing of polling frames to discard the buffer packets at the AP level. Those attacks exploit the power-saving mechanism and network, leading to the service disruption for the legitimate user. Then different vulnerabilities that just we have seen the authentication management frame in IEEE management frame, like the authentication association. These are the main area where IEEE 802.8 get vulnerable to the attackers. So it encrypts management frame which are not encrypted or encrypted authenticated by default. So it stores that frames
Excuse me,
and
sir.
based on,
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to remind you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your
Okay,
presentation.
okay, yes, definitely, definitely. I will come to that. So then MAC layer for that, and in insider threat and firmware level manipulation will be done in this. So this is the literature survey where we have did the authentication flooding, cascading, the authentication block SCK frame, PS pool based DOS attack, and insider attack. So based on this, we have did the literature survey for the 8 papers, and in this we have considered the 20 papers for the assessment and discussion, where we are examining the various paper classified as an year of application, utilization of network, and evaluation parameters. So here we have seen the most of the attacks developed based techniques has been developed on the management of the frame attack, where the 40% of the area of the paper we have considered is from the management frame attack. So evaluation of the tool set, you can see here, but in a tool set we can have the just a minute different tools, that is such as ns3, opennet, python, matlab, omnet, maple, openwrite, testbed, mini network, and wireshark. So here the most important two evaluation tool that has been used, that is ns3 and matlab, that can be utilized for the uh, new system that can be developed. Then assessment based on the performance metrics. So these are the different performance metrics, that is throughput, packet loss, latency, jitter, queuing, retransmission, detection rate, false positive, and such as. So based on this, we have evaluated the paper. And one more, that is assessment based on the published paper. So we have considered the paper from 2009 to 2023, and in 23 we got the most of the paper working on the management frame. So we are just developing the system that will go for the intruder detection system using a machine learning. So it identifies and mitigates the DOS attack. Additionally, it integrates the secure authentication management, where the cross layer, where we have seen the Mac cross layer design techniques can be used. Cross layer design technique on Mac layer can be used for comprehensive design. So here we recent advancement have been studied and highlighted the challenges and difficulties encountered in a survey paper. The assessment covers the toolset, publication year, performance measures. So based on this, we propose the machine learning based intrusion detection system for detecting, mitigating DOS attack in IEEE 802.8 by leveraging the machine learning technique, and proposed system aims to improve that. So this is all from my side. Any question?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you please tell me how we can integrate ML models in this denial of service attack detection?
So as we have seen, most of the times we need to monitor the real-time model. So different ML models that can be, we can say that supervised learning or unsupervised learning can be used for the classification. So we know that the SVM can be a good for binary classification, where the regular traffic can be assessed by using the different models of the Python or whatever the machine learning methods that we use to develop, that is PyShark, can be used to live capture the packets, and that will be classified using the supervised learning. So in this way, we can go for the intrusion detection system.
Okay. So, which real-time module can be utilized during the implementation?
In a real-time module, we can use the PyShark or T-Shark we can have for implementing the real-time monitoring of the packet.
Okay, just one last question.
Mm.
What kinds of DOS attack detection your model will support?
Actually, after studying, we are considering the management frame stalling, or whatever we can say, that intrusion detection system. So whatever the intruder will come into the network, that will be detected by using the ML model, which will track the packets continuously, and it will observe the packet, which will segregate in two parts, which are the real behavior, and one another which is having the some different behavior. Based on that, we are detecting the intruders.
Okay, done from my side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Moving towards our next presentation. The next paper to be presented is the blockchain in education and lifelong learnings, challenges, solutions, and future directions. The paper will be presented by Vidisha Pradhan. Do we have the author or any of the co-authors of for this paper? There seems to be no response. We'll be moving forward. The next paper to be presented is a community startup management system, a blockchain approach, which will be presented by Shikha Gupta.
I'll be
Do we
sharing
have the
screen.
yeah?
Can you hear me, sir? This is Vidisha Pradhan.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yes, can I share my screen?
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, then I'll be sharing afterwards. Shikha Gupta.
Yes, ma'am. We'll have your presentation right after this.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
My screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible. You may proceed with your presentation.
My screen is visible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible.
Okay. Good morning to one and all present over here. Today, my presentation is specifically on blockchain in education and lifelong learning, challenges, solutions, and future directions. So this is basically a survey paper which encompasses the current usage of current scenarios where we are lacking when we are not using digitization, and how blockchain can use help us. The scenario which I am going to discuss is as per the agenda: motivation, research challenges, existing work, limitations of the existing work, room for improvement, and expected results. So when we are talking about storing data, so educational data is very much important, and we need to securely store the data. So the concern over here is the data privacy. So when we are showing the data of user, or we can say, let some student has received their certificate, and now the time is we are giving that the hard copy of the certificate. Now, if the students wants to go for the higher studies, or the same students want to go for a job, so in that case, employer would need to verify that whatever the degrees they are showing are true or not. So for that purpose, they need to contact their universities. So when they contact the universities, it is possible that it is, as it is a manual process, it usually takes 25 to 30 days to get the response and do the settlements. So that is a time-taking process when manual involvement is there. So instead of that, if we are storing the user's credentials or user certificate on some wallet, which can be used, and the hash of that wallet is stored in a blockchain, so that will be beneficial for both the ends. The employer or the person from the higher education institutes need to check that hash only. So, and there won't be the privacy concern because it is also possible to share only partial information which is required by that specific person. So blockchain as a potential solution, blockchain is really a potential solution for the secure data management. And one more thing is enhancing the trust and transparency in education as no third person is involved when blockchain is come into the picture. These are the various features of blockchain which can help in the education domain. Blockchain is decentralized and it is having the transparency. When we say immutability, once the data is stored in a blockchain block, nobody can change it. And if it is changed, that we all know that the next hashes will be affected. And because of that, it will be quite clear that somebody has changed the data. So from the security perspective, also blockchain is a good option to go with. It gives the ownership of a record to the person who is holding it. So currently we are usually giving the ownership to the Google or the Microsoft or some Facebook. We usually do the login with Google or login with Facebook. So when ultimately we are giving the ownership to these people. So instead of giving the ownership, now ownership is with the user only. Interoperability, lifelong learning support, and improved verification. So verification is improved in terms of user is going to have their own identity and they are going to maintain each and every record. Now, there are various applications when we can incorporate the blockchain in education, credential verification, learner autonomy, decentralized learning platforms, IP protections, transparent assessment, secure data management, fund management. When we are talking about the challenges that the current scenario is facing, even though we are incorporating the blockchain, so there is one issue which is related to the sustainability and the cost, and one of that is energy consumption. So if we are using public blockchain networks, particularly those blockchains which are using proof of work. So when we say proof of work, it is very much energy intensive system. So research should be more focused on energy efficient consensus algorithms like proof of stake or proof of authority. So it can help and it can go through we can apply those solutions for the educational credential systems so that we can have the reduced energy consumption. Then the second thing is cost of implementation and maintenance. Usually interoperability is an issue when we are talking about a blockchain solution. So if we implement a blockchain and maintain a blockchain infrastructure for the educational institutes, it may incur significant costs because if you are using blockchain, it means it is in middle somewhere. So there are some data which is coming from somewhere and that data is not supporting the blockchain platform and whatever where we are providing the data and that is also not supporting as per the current scenario. So when we want to make it interoperative, it is better to go for a private blockchain network rather than going for a public blockchain network. Then one more issue is the scalability, that is network scalability. As more number of institutes adopt the blockchain for storing and verifying the transcripts or the certificates, the network ability to scale and handle the data will be having the issues. So if we are using the traditional blockchain platforms like Bitcoin and Ethereum, where we are having a huge amount of people using it, so that network congestion may be there into the picture. Then the storage requirement. Blockchain networks are, as we say, that each and every chain is going to hold all the transactions. So there will be a huge amount of data storage which will be required. So it is better to store the data off chain rather than putting everything on chain. So we have gone through few previous work. So there is one Sony Global Education partnered with IBM in 2017 to develop the blockchain platform for the secure exchange of academic records. The platform was designed to store and share the educational
Excuse
data
me,
between
ma'am.
institutes. Yes,
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to remind that you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your presentation.
sure, sir. So there are some impact and ultimately the limitations of the Sony Global Education partner was they were using the hybrid Hyperledger Fabric, which was having a public blockchain platform and certification issuance, and in that they are facing the issue of the scalability. Then there is a University of Nicosia, which is also using the blockchain platform, and but the limitation is because of the Bitcoin platform it is using, they were having the energy consumption issue. If we are talking about room of improvement, we can move to more scalable blockchain. We can have a cross blockchain interoperability solutions. We can have energy efficient blockchains. We can have green certificates where no need of the physical certificate. So these are the way we can improve the education system for storing and providing the data to the students in terms of their certificates. So we can have the enhanced security and integrity of the academic credentials. Students can empower and they can be the owner of their own digital certificates. So cost of saving and administrative efficiency will be reduced. So we can say that if we are using the blockchain, it can enhance the credentiality, and learner can have the control on their own identities. It enables the close cross-border verification easily. It exchanges and remain, but solutions are emerging towards secure, intensive, including the blockchain in education scenario. So we can say that if we are using a blockchain, it will be beneficial to more stakeholders. That's it from my end, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I will like to just ask you, is blockchain truly necessary in education, or are there any simpler technologies that achieve similar goals?
Yes, if we actually, when we are talking about the user should have the its own control. So in that case, if we are using blockchain, it is providing me that is self-sovereign identity is one of the concepts. So if we are using that, then this user will be the owner of it. The reason of using blockchain is if user is the only owner and user is the only owner and nobody is having the access to it, it means we won't be able to find out the what we can say while verifying the document, it is very crucial. So if we are putting some kind of hash, so blockchain is used as an intermediary for the employers, so that if some institute is storing the hash in a blockchain, so if a user is sharing their credentials to the employer, then they will cross verify their credentials with the use of the blockchain. And if it matches, then it is quite clear that the user has shared the right document.
And are there similar kinds of simpler technologies available?
I'm afraid that I'm not much aware about that. Maybe if we are using simple hashing or something, it can be achieved, but cross
Yeah.
verification is the issue.
Yes. Okay, fine. That's it from my side.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, moving towards further presentations. The next paper to be presented is the Community Startup Management System, a blockchain approach, which will be presented by Shikha Gupta.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. You may please share your screen and proceed with your presentation.
Sir, whether the screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible.
Okay, good morning, all of you. My name is Dr. Shikha Gupta. I am going to present a paper on Community Startup Management System, a blockchain approach. So here, in this regard, I am going to cover the following topic. First, introduction, where I am going to present the introductory part of startup, then glimpse of blockchain, then literature survey, where we will see the research work of some of the researchers, then problem definition and objectives. After that, the proposed architecture given by us, then working, conclusion, and then references. So coming to the introduction, as we all know that a startup, it's a new career option of self-employment for the people, and startup, it also provide the platform to the young generation to come up with their innovative ideas and provide the solution for the current problem relevant to the changing society. Startup, it also solves the problem of deficiency of product as well as the new product that will serve humanity and lower barriers to entry. As well as here, the significant challenge in front of the startup is the funding source. So to overcome this kind of problem, we should need some technology which is secure as well as transparent. So blockchain technology can be used. Here we can use the collateral management system. So the transparency can be maintained, and for security, SHA hash algorithm can be used. Now the glimpse of blockchain. Actually, when we will see the blockchain, it's nothing but it's a simple data structure where each block is linked to another block in a time-stamped chronological order. It's a distributed digital ledger of immutable public record of digital transactions. Here, every new record is validated across the distributed network before it is stored in a block. All the information once stored on the ledger, it is verifiable and auditable, but it cannot be editable. Each block is identified here by its cryptographic signature. So in this way, the blockchain can provide the transparency as well as it can maintain the security. Now, many researchers, they worked on the blockchain technology. In that, A.A. Monad, he worked on the blockchain technology, and he found that blockchain are not just limited to the distributed ledger, decentralization, and immutability, but it can also widely spread in some of the applications like we can see the cryptocurrencies. Then Stadler H, he worked on the supply chain management. And when he worked on the supply chain management, then he found that while implementing the supply chain management through blockchain, then in that case, the cost is reduced to half when blockchain is applied, because generally it removes the middleman and intermediaries, and also it ensures that the system is transparent. Then Gisli, basically his objective of work is to identify all the relevant research on blockchain technology and analyze it from technical perspective. So now our problem definition is, in today's world where economy is very important, so in that scenario, having an effective collateral management system, it's critical for mitigating risk and maintaining operational efficiency. So there is urgent need for a software solution that can identify, report, suggest appropriate measures for collateral management system. So our objective is to set up community startup platform. So in this platform, basically it's basically a tri-party collateral system. So here 3 parties should have access to all the transaction without hidden party. And in this scenario, digital contracts are built with all precondition mentioned. So here basically the transparency will be maintained, because if any one party want to perform any kind of task or any kind of transaction, so it will be known by all the members or all the 2 parties which is present over there. Now let us see the architecture. So here basically initially what is going to happen, the user will register with all its occupation, with all his occupation details. Then the admin will collect the information of the investors, and the log server will be updated with that information. Once the admin will get that, okay, the 3 parties will decide to work together, then in that case, the next step is to build the smart contract in the blockchain network. So they will build the blockchain network, and they will build the smart contract, and that smart contract will be proposed to the blockchain network. So here for the execution of a smart contract, connection has been established
Excuse me,
among the
ma'am.
peers.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to remind you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your presentation.
Okay, so here the connection is established with the peers, and the peers will execute that smart contract. And after executing that in smart contract, they will get some kind of response, and that response they will again give it to the client, and then client will initiate the transaction. This transaction will again given to the blockchain network, and that blockchain network, based on the consensus, they'll approve the transaction. Once the transaction will be approved, it will be updated on a ledger. So in this way the complete architecture will work. So this is only the working. Now some of the glimpse of the smart contract over here. So here we can collect some of the basic information of interpreter and freelancers, like user ID, full name, email, phone number, etc. This is the glimpse of smart contract for authorization of user, where the user will be authorized when he will be entrepreneur, freelancer, or investor. And here, if interpreter will get some kind of benefit, then interpreter should pay the investor his share to profit. Then features of the proposed system. So here interpreter is also get benefited in terms of he can tokenize their asset, as well as he can restore his ownership, and investor, they can access the global market, and freelancer, they can receive their payment in cryptocurrencies. So these kind of thing can be happen. So concluding this here, uh, basically the proposed system intend to provide more assurance to the society while they are working for their firm. And in this architecture, every transaction is transparent, traceable, and secure, so entrepreneur can smoothly do their work. And this architecture provides an accessibility feature for investor to access the global market. Thank you. If any query, these are the
Yeah.
references.
Yes. Um, I would like to ask you just how is the scalability handled here when the number of startups and users increases?
Ma'am, actually, it's a private blockchain network. So we are thinking it for Hyperledger. So basically here means it's a distributed kind of network. So if it's a distributed network, then it is very obvious that it can be scalable, because all the data are going to be stored on various different nodes. It is not going to be handled like on in a centralized platform, because blockchain itself is providing decentralized, it is based on only decentralized architecture. So we can get the scalability here. And it's a hyperledger private blockchain. So here organization is knowing about all the means authentic user. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Yeah.
Is there any
So,
other query?
Network
uh,
issue. So just one more question I want to ask.
Yeah.
What mechanisms are in place to prevent fraud, entries, or tampering?
Ma'am, actually in blockchain we cannot enter the fraud entry, because it is based on the hashing technique. So what is going to happen, that if the user will want to enter any kind of information, or if we want to do any kind of alteration, then this information will be stored all the nodes which are present over there, and based on consensus algorithm everything will work. So here when the block is get altered, then no one will agree on that, and at that time the block will be discarded,
Okay,
or
fine,
that
done.
transaction will be discarded. Okay,
Yes,
thank you, ma'am.
yeah, done from my side.
thank you, ma'am. Now we'll be moving towards our next presentation. The next paper to be presented is a comparative design of antenna for hexagonal and triangular structure for 5G and beyond. The paper will be presented by Smriti Dwivedi.
Okay, sir. Sir, I am audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, sir. Sir, is it visible? My presentation is visible?
Yes, ma'am, your presentation is visible.
Okay, sir. So, thank you everyone and very good morning. I am going to present my paper on the topic of comparative design of antenna for hexagonal and triangular structure for 5G and beyond 5G application. So, I am Smriti Dwivedi and I am from IIT BHU, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. So, some outline I am going to cover under this presentation. The first is antenna basics, microstrip antenna, advantages and disadvantages, microwave, millimeter wave and terahertz regime for 5G, beyond 5G and 6G, design of antenna, results and discussion, conclusion, and followed by references. So here, first of thing, the antenna is an electrical device which convert electrical power into a radio waves and vice versa. So we need antenna when two person want to communicate it, and when they are separated for some distance, so we use antenna there. There is no possibility of wired communication. Antenna are required by the receiver and transmitter to couple the electrical connection, and radio waves are the electromagnetic wave which we use as a signal to transfer the signal from transmitter to receiver, and it travels with the speed of light. Now we use the antenna and it can work under the water, even through the soil and rock at a certain frequency for a short distance, not for a long distance. And here there are some application that we use for the antenna, like including the broadcast radio, television, mobile telephone, point to point communication, satellite link, and LAN, as well as radar. Now we have six different types of antenna. In all the antennas, I'm going to use the patch antenna for my design. So patch antenna is a microstrip patch antenna, and here I'm going to design the hexagonal and triangular structure. Now there are some advantages and disadvantages associated with the microstrip patch antenna. Like advantages we talked about, like it has a lightweight, low volume, low fabrication cost, low cross polarization radiation, and it is compatible with the microwave integrated circuit design. Now there are several disadvantages which is associated with this type of antenna. It has a low bandwidth, low efficiency, low power, spurious feed radiation, high quality factor, and poor polarization purity. Now when we talk about the antenna for the 5G, beyond 5G, or even for the 6G communication, we have some frequencies range that we use to design the antenna. So first of all, the terahertz radiation we have, that is typically we use, it is an electromagnetic radiation in the frequency range of 0.1 terahertz to 10 terahertz. And if we talk about in terms of wavelength, this 3 mm to 30 micrometer. Such frequencies are higher than radio wave but lower than the infrared. And we can classify this frequency and this wavelength into two different category. One is from 0.03 mm to 3 mm, which is known as sub-millimeter radiation. And apart from that, if we talk about the higher wavelength, it comes under the infrared radiation. Now 5G technology supports the BDMA, and which BDMA gives the high quality beam factor. Also 5G associated with the low latency, which gives the high quality video, and use of artificial intelligence also gives the it turns into a high definition camera stream. Here, the one of the basic device that we, when we think about the 5G communication or the beyond 5G communication, it is an antenna which has enhanced gain, bandwidth with a lesser radiation, that we use for the beyond 5G communication. So we are having several designs for design the for simulating the antenna. The first thing that we talked about, the beyond 5G antennas, it has high bandwidth and high data rate with the improved gain. Many works are going on under this. The reconfigurable antennas we using with the graphene, metamaterial, and gold, as well as the MIMO antenna, they are very extremely used nowadays. Now reflect array antenna, which is having the array property as well as the reflection to improve the gain. Also we have a electrical shape antenna which is having a good directional pattern and is being used for the medical imaging with the very high gain. Another paper that we have, the micro MIMO antenna, that is multiple input multiple output antenna, which is proposed for the nanomaterial and also being used for the beam forming and beam shaping properties. Now Here I am using the antenna which is having the these are the parameter that I am using for the antenna. It is in millimeter range. Now design and simulation of antenna for the hexagonal and triangular structure. So this is the simulated, and I have simulated this antenna using the CST Micro Studio. So the in the left side we have a hexagonal antenna, and the right side we have a triangular shape antenna. Now here, if we talk about the patch antenna has three layer. The top layer is known as patch, middle layer is substrate, and the bottom layer is known as ground. So here substrate I am using which is FR4, and for ground and patch I am using the copper material. Now this is the simulated graph of reflection coefficient of
Excuse
hexagonal.
me, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but there seems to be some issue with your presentation. It's stuck on a certain slide. It's not moving forward. Yeah, now it's moving.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Um, simulated graph of reflection coefficient is also known as a S11 parameter, which is very important parameter when we design any antenna, and this decides the gain of antenna. So here the left hand side we have a S11 parameter which is reflection coefficient for a hexagonal antenna, and the right hand side we have a triangular antenna. So this S11 parameter should be come in the range of minus 10 dB or more less than minus 10 dB. Then we can say that this is a good design. Now this is the radiation pattern, which is also known as a far field pattern. So in the left hand side we have a radiation pattern which gives the gain of antenna 7.77 dBi for hexagonal, and in the right hand side we are having 7.85 dBi for the triangular structure. So now S11 parameter and radiation pattern. So the previous design that I have used for the complete ground structure, now I am going to improve the gain by using a partial ground structure. So the first figure represent the back part or the bottom part of the antenna, where I am using the partial ground, not the complete ground. So I am using a half copper, not full copper. Now the second part is represent the S11 parameter for the partial ground structure with the triangular shape. Now the last part is represent the gain. Now we can see here the gain of the antenna is improved from 7.85 dBi to 10.5 dBi. Now this is the surface current for hexagonal and triangular structure for design and simulation. So the left hand side for the hexagonal and the right hand side represent the triangular structure. Now these are comparison table for the proposed structure. So hexagonal design gives a gain of 7.7. This is the frequency actually. 10.681 is the frequency, 9.0988 is frequency, and 9.685 is also the frequency. And so for the hexagonal we are getting 7.7, triangular structure we are getting 7.85, and for triangular structure with partial ground structure I am getting the 10.5 dBi. Now the conclusion, every manuscript I have taken and I have given in the reference section. Hexagonal and triangular design have been simulated with the complete ground, and I have checked all the values. Here 7.7, 7.85 we are getting for hexagonal and triangular structure. Now to enhance again I have used the partial ground, and for that I am getting 10.5 dBi gain. Bandwidth is increased from 0.29 gigahertz to 0.32 gigahertz. Also we can improve the gain of antenna by using the array and MIMO structure with a different material like a graphene, gold or metamaterial. Now these are the references that I have used. Now thank you for your attention.
Yeah, I will like to just ask why only hexagonal and triangular shapes? Would other geometric offer better performance?
Yes, ma'am. There are several geometry that we can use for the, like we can use the pentagonal, and also we can use the S shape, T shape. But I have checked only because I want to check the hexagonal and triangular. That's why I have used. But we can go for any other design. I have not done yet, but we can go for any other design and we can check. Maybe we will get the more gain from these proposed gain.
Okay. And what simulation tools or softwares were used in design and analysis?
Ma'am, I have used the CST Micro Studio, which is used for the electromagnetic to simulate the electromagnetic structure.
Uh, and for which specific 5G use case are these antenna structure best suited?
Ma'am, for medical imaging, And for a weaponry system, we can use for even for high data rate. For nowadays we are using for high data rate, we are moving towards that. So for that purpose we can use. Also we can improve gain for the TV transmission. We can approach for more channels which is having a high frequency that we are not getting for the frequency that we have actually. So we can go for, we have several applications, especially for the biomedical imaging, where we can directly check the cancer without using the biopsy or any other typical methods. Ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Done from my side.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you, ma'am. Now moving forward towards our next presentation, and the next paper to be presented is Detecting Malicious Dark Pattern Codes Using SHAP, Shapely Additive Explanations, Feature Engineering. The paper will be presented by A. Punitha.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Thank you.
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
be sharing the screen, sir.
Sure, ma'am.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible.
Yes, sir. So, good morning, all. So, myself, Punita, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science, KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology. So, I'm here to present my research titled Detecting Malicious Dark Pattern Codes Using Shapely Additive Explanation Feature Engineering. So the reason for choosing this topic is we all come across websites or apps that make it hard to say no. Maybe they hide the cancel button or keep pushing you to click yes. So these tricks are called the dark patterns. They design choices that makes us do things we didn't really intend to do, like subscribing to emails or sharing personal information. So this can leave people confused or frustrated, and that is exactly what we wanted to study. Our goal is to see if we could predict how people feel, whether negative, neutral, or positive, just by looking at how they interact with these kind of interfaces. So now, while machine learning models can make these predictions, they usually don't tell us why they made them. That is the biggest problem, especially if we want to build a better design with more honest experiences. So we use something called SHAP, a tool that explains how each features, like the number of clicks or the time spent, which influences a prediction. So this gives us a clear picture of what really going on behind the scene. In short, our work aims to combine machine learning accuracy with transparency so we can better understand user frustration and help build more ethical digital products. So in this study, we focused on two clear goals. First, we wanted to compare two popular machine learning models, XGBoost and Random Forest, to see which one does a better job at prediction, how user feels when they interact with the dark patterns. Are they really feeling frustrated, neutral, or satisfied? But beyond just making prediction, we also wanted to understand why the model make the decision they do so. So our second goal was to use SAP, which helps us to interrupt the model decision, almost like opening up the black box to see what is really going on inside. Thirdly, we look closely at what features like number of clicks or time spent on the page are most strongly connected to negative emotions. So these insights helps to identify the specific design elements that cause frustration. Finally, by combining these techniques, we aim to support the ethical design that helping the designers and developers build digital experiences that respect users instead of manipulating them. Uh, in the literary overview, the previous research tells us that dark patterns are more than just annoying. They are actually take users' freedom to choose and can even harm their trust. So some studies also shows that these tricks can lead to privacy issues and leave users feeling very much uncomfortable or tricked. So that is why researchers say it is important to use AI that is not just accurate but it is easy to understand. So our proposed SHAP, it breaks down exactly how and why a model makes a decision, which is perfect for analyzing user experiences. So, from this study, we use the data that tracks how users interact with the websites. Um, Things like how many times they click, how long they can able to stay in a particular page, and how far they are scrolling. We train two machine learning models, XGBoost and Random Forest, to predict how user is feeling. The feelings are in negative, neutral, and or positive. To check how well the models work, you also use the common evaluation methods like accuracy, precision, recall, and FI score. This setup helps us understand not just what the user felt, but what the model thought so. And SHAP is a tool that helps us understand how machine learning model makes its prediction. It works kind of like splitting a team effort. It shows how much each feature like clicks or more time spent or which contribute to the final decision. For example, Sharp can tell us too many clicks pushed the model towards the predicting a negative emotion. This makes the model things transparent, which is really helpful for improving the user experience design. So this slide shows the overall flow of our system. We start by collecting the user interaction data, things like clicks, time spent, and scroll depth, as I said before. So this data goes into the machine learning model, which predicts the user sentiments. Then we use SHAP to explain those predictions, helps us to understand what made the model think the user felt the all the emotion a kind of negative or the neutral or positive. So here we have broken down the performance of both model of each sentiment classes, negative, neutral, and positive. XGBoost performs slightly better across all three classes, especially for neutral sentiment, where it adds the highest FA score. So random forest also did well, but its scores were a bit lower, especially for positive sentiment. So this breakdown helps us to see how each model handles different emotion responses, not just the overall average. So this slide shows how well each model did for each type of sentiment called negative, neutral, and positive. So here XGBoost gave more accurate predictions, especially for neutral and positive feelings. And random forest was close, but a bit weaker in positive sentiment detection. So this helps us to see not just how
Excuse me,
well the
ma'am.
models. Yes,
Sorry
sir.
to interrupt. Just wanted to mention you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So this table shows which user behavior features has the biggest impact on the model prediction. Mm, so in the future, we plan to use a transformer model to capture deeper emotion patterns in user behavior. And we also want to include multimodal data like voice tone or eye tracker for rich sentiment analysis. And another idea is also to provide a real-time sharp feedback, helping designers adjust the user interface while it is being built. So finally, we hope to apply this method to areas like healthcare or the online shopping where ethical design is just as important. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. I will like to just ask you what type of data set used to detect dark pattern?
Ma'am, data sets is just the clicks given by the user, ma'am. If they were staying for in one particular page, how long they are staying, how many clicks are they
So it is readily
giving.
available you're taken or you have prepared?
Ma'am, we have prepared that, ma'am. We have prepared that the number of clicks. So we have created a web page. So we have made a number of clicks, and it gets to n number of pages, so that we can get a final thing objective what we exactly need. So depends on the clicks and depends on how long we are staying in one particular page, ma'am. That we have created, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, very well.
Yeah. I hope that clears the doubt of our session chair. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
We'll
you,
move
thank you,
forward.
ma'am.
Yeah. The next paper to be presented is the Sustainable Leadership Practices Adopted by Corporate and Defense. The paper will be presented by Suruchi Pandey.
Good morning, sir and ma'am. Thank you very much. I can share the screen now.
Yes, ma'am, you may share the screen.
Please let me know if my presentation is visible.
Yeah.
Sir, is my presentation visible?
We are able to see your screen. It's mentioning that you have started screen share. Yeah, now it's visible.
The presentation is visible. Just give me 1
Yes.
minute.
Yeah, you may proceed.
So good morning once again to all of you. The topic that I'm presenting is very different than what has been presented till now in the track. This is about corporate and defense employees' views on sustainable leadership practices. So in the era of cutthroat competition in the modern world, the social inequalities is on rise. And also there are challenges towards environmental aspect demanding greater need for leaders capable of navigating through these complex challenges of sustainability while achieving their economical objective. The need of long-term viability and resilience in the leadership technique has given rise to dynamic and ever-evolving notion of sustainable leadership. Value of making moral decisions is essential part of any leadership, though initially we did not talk about it, but as leader grow we want them to take value based leadership. So here the literature review was done for almost 25 articles of varied resources upon key concept, what is sustainable leadership, what are the methodologies and the challenges of this kind of research. It examines existing research on the relationship between the various factors and highlight the gap which can be researched. Also, it helps facilitate comparative analysis in the corporate and defense. Sustainable leadership practices adopted by various kind of leadership. So the generic literature is presented like this. However, there is not much available where there is a comparison between what is happening in the private sector and what is happening with the defense employees. It is the management approach of resolving social, economical, and environmental concern while steering away to its mission or objective. This style of leadership prioritizes long-term sustainability over the short-term gains. Leadership enabling fulfillment of need of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. It eliminates organizational silos also. Holistic approach in involving all stakeholders. So it is not just about customer first, only bothering about customer. It is not any stakeholder, your customer, your employees, society at large, government, and environment too. So sustainability in corporate sustainable leadership aims value creation for its organization by fostering a culture of sustainability, focusing on social, economic, and environmental aspects. Engagement of all stakeholders, looking after everyone's interest. Concentration on ESG, that is environment, social, and governance. This has been more of a recent phenomena, may improve the amount of value that is created in 5 major areas of business to include efficiency, regularity, compliance, top line expansion, cost saving, investment, and asset optimization. The interesting thing here is when you're talking about sustainability, that does not mean that business is going to be compromised. The business leaders are, of course, keeping the business and the profitability in mind, but at the same time, they are ensuring that the ESG aspects are being taken care of. Centered on a profit-driven goal, financial advantage, and shareholder value as maximization, emphasizing on waste reduction, effective supply chain management, and responsible energy saving, green initiative, and use of renewable technology are also taken care of in the sustainable leadership. Also, community aspects, the social side of it. The business sector evaluates and mitigates environment, social, governance risk because they have been given a framework, so they mainly follow it. Metrics like financial returns on sustainable investment and ESG rating are important for the business sector. Now, going back to sustainability of the defense forces perspective, main role of the defense forces to maintain territorial integrity of the nation, for which maintaining operational preparedness of essential priority while incorporating sustainability practices. Respect for human rights and counterinsurgencies areas of in operations in aid of civic authorities and maintaining high moral behavior in peacekeeping operations. Communities engagement from military operations point of view. logistic optimization to reduce transportation cost, inventory cost, preventive maintenance, life cycle concept for cost analysis, use of technology for operational effectiveness, mitigating ecological effect while on military movement, use of energy, efficient fuel and technology, water harvesting, use of non-renewable energy resources, waste management, plantation drives are some of the activities that defense forces usually take care of. So what exactly is the guide? While there exist enough studies distinct between facets of sustainability and leadership and organizational practices as an individual basis, there is a scarcity of the research that comprehensively synthesizes these dimensions with interrelationship in both the sectors simultaneously. There is a need for interdisciplinary research that investigate the interdependencies of the sustainable leadership across various industries and why not including defense sector too. The call is to explore how good practices in both the sectors can be merged or adopted by one and another to benefit mutually and the society at large. Addressing these gaps could lead to more integrated and effective sustainable leadership practices. So with this aim, two objectives were set for this discussion: to compare sustainable practices implemented by the leaders in corporate and defense sector, to compare difficulties encountered by both the leaders and while implementing the sustainable practices. So two hypotheses were prepared here. There is no significant null hypothesis is there is no significant difference in implementation of sustainable practices between leaders in the corporate and defense sector. And another one is there is no significant difference in the difficulties faced by the leaders in implementing sustainable leadership practices in corporate and defense sector. So methodology adopted, research methodology is quantitative study and survey based merely. Questionnaire prepared on the Likert scale with a closed loop, keeping all objectives under the consideration, and then deciding the methods. Sampling method was convenient sampling for the leadership position. Ethical considerations were addressed. Participants were informed the objective and anonymity was ensured. The pilot study of 20 questions by 30 samples was done. Reliability and validity tests were conducted, and mainly 270 samples were studied, which are being discussed in this paper. Data collection was primarily using WhatsApp and emails and circulating with the ease where participants could be reached and can fill the questionnaire, and data was analyzed using SPSS.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt. Just wanted to mention you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your presentation.
Yes, here I go. So these were the mainly questionnaire aspect. Now finding the reliability test using Convac Alpha method was done. Corporate sector, 37% of the individual said that they have implemented sustainable practices, whereas in defense, this was 53%. Regarding the years of experiences or the gender, this did not make any difference in the implementation of the sustainable practices. Responded generally hold a moderate positive perception about the sustainable practices in their organization, all of them. So what are the final recommendations? Developing a targeted leadership development program that focuses on enhancing leaders' understanding and implementation of the sustainable practices is the need of the day. With emphasis to the low level of management group, these programs should encompass modules, cultural knowledge, business portfolio, etc. Tailored sustainability training programs should be implemented and should be provided to the leaders. Why it should not only about the business. Facilitating knowledge sharing platforms with organizations to encourage dissemination of the best practices in the sustainability. While the Convac Alpha, while the Man Whitney test said that this gender is not implementing any differences. In spite of that, we are encouraging that they should be more inclusive in nature, so that more diverse groups can be part of the sustainable practice, and it itself is a sustainable practice. Establishment of the mentorship program, pairing an experienced leader for the newcomers, so that good practices can be continued. So research encourages organization to customize their approaches to sustainable leadership and practices, taking into consideration the unique challenges that the corporate and the defense sector presents. So with this, I end my presentation.
Yes, I will like to ask just how is the effectiveness of these practices measured or evaluated?
So when it comes to about private sector, there's a ESG framework, which largely every corporate is doing, and they're also being asked to present and quantify, net zero and other things are coming. So they are having these practices, but whereas it comes to defense, they themselves are so prone sustainability, but they don't measure and make a report or present to the government bodies that this is what we have contributed.
And what is the main difference in leadership structure between corporate and defense sectors?
So as far as this study is concerned, both are alike. Everything is alike. Corporate are working for money, Defense is working to secure the boundaries. Corporate also is doing sustainable practices. Defense also are doing a large number of sustainable practices, but we don't have enough literature. The only difference is it appeared to me that defense is more aware and there are more people are involved as compared to the private sector. Not everybody is involved in the sustainable practices.
Yeah, done from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll be moving towards our next presentation. And the next paper to be presented is Enhanced Skin Disease Classification using Deep Learning. And the paper will be presented by Pratish Kumar S.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Pratish Kumar. I'll share my screen now.
Sure, sir. So are you facing any technical issues while sharing your screen?
Yeah, 1 minute. I'm sorting out it. 1 minute. I will fix
Okay,
it up.
okay, sure. So if you're facing any technical, okay, yeah, you joined again. So is it okay that we move forward with next presentations till then you resolve your technical issue and clarify it? Okay, good.
Hello, this is Pratish, and we are going to explain about the healthcare chatbot, which we are working on it, and it is basically developed for the skin disease analysis. Most of the people were not aware of skin diseases, and they are not caring about it. And our research is based designing a AI model for diagnosing that skin disease and recommending the right proper doctor for the consulting the doctor consultations. This is majorly based focuses on the skin diseases and the symptoms which they faces. And we use a CNN model for analyzing the images and NLP like for the conversational interfaces. And when coming to the introduction is like basically what our model is going to do. If the user has skin diseases, he can take the image and he can give as an input and he can describe what he feels. So that according to the symptoms and image analysis, it will be concluding to a it might be this. You can consult a doctor regarding this, and so that if diagnosing a skin disease in an earlier stage is more easy to cure than comparing to the expect like expand state. And these are the data sets which we use for training our model. This is the image data set we were using, and this is the text data sets. And the limitations in the existing methodologies, like they were in existing models, they are using only images for skin disease analysis. They are not focusing on the text like user input, what they feel. Some of the skin disease may look similar, but their symptoms may differ. So this may lead to a different diagnosis and which may lead to a different treatment issues. So our model will be getting both the information from the user, like image and the symptoms they are feeling, and concluding on this basis, it will be concluding to some of like this will be figuring the disease. As on the technical implementation, as we informed before, we are using CNN model for the image classification and NLP model for symptom analysis. And we are also implemented voice input, which will be converting the voice to text, and it will be it will which makes user more user friendly. And the main methodology is methodology we focuses to find out the disease from the user symptoms and conclude them with the final decision. We have used precisions if you use if the image is similar to some of the two or three images, like it will be comparatively percentage, and it will be merged in the soft matrix, and it will be uh, used in the final conclusion for the diagnosis part. And this is the flow of our model where user can use both voice input and text input. It will be converted into text, and the model will be processing, and the precisions which we get from the text model and the precision which we get from the CNN model will be fused in, and we will be getting a collaborative result on this. And in system architecture, there are three phases, that is user interface, input processing, and AI diagnosis. We support, like as we told before, we support image and text on voice. These standard data are converted and which is used for making the final output. And this is like this is the end of this. Is there any questions regarding this?
Okay. So, what types of skin diseases are targeted here in your study?
Actually, currently we are focused on 6 months. It's still under process as we are doing this as a final year project. We are planning to expand this for 27 to 28 diseases now.
Okay. And what have you done the implementation of this?
Actually, we have done the implementation, and my laptop is not able to is not capable of running it, and we have a screenshot of this.
No, then what hyperparameters you have been used?
Ma'am?
What hyperparameters you have been used in your implementation during training for training purpose?
Hyperparameters.
Means epochs batch size like that.
Ma'am?
How many epochs you have been run for your code?
Actually, this for text model, it has been trained for 1 or 2 epochs, ma'am. And for image model is done by my co-author, who is Abhishan, and he is not available right now here.
Okay, okay, fine. Yeah, done from my side. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now moving towards our next presentation. The next paper will be presented by Gauri S. Krishna for the paper title Evaluating Unified Mobile Application for New Age Governance, Umang Compliance with Web Content Accessibility Guidelines WCAG 2.0, a study on web accessibility.
Yes, I'm here. I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. You may please share your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I hope my presentation is visible.
Yeah, ma'am, your presentation is visible. Yes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Gauri S. Krishna. So our paper is titled Evaluating Unified Mobile Application for New Age Governance, Umang compliance with Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG 2.2, a study on web accessibility. This paper is co-authored with Aravind Ayar and Archa AS. So information and communication technologies have become backbone of our modern world and transforming different areas of our life, including governance, education, and every aspect of our life. And initiative when it comes to digital governance, initiatives like Digital India, Aadhaar, and Umang app highlights uh, how citizens are now interacting with government services. And when it's come to Umang app, it's an app launched by Indian government, consolidating over 1,000 government services in one platform. And when we talk about digital platforms, inclusion became a crucial element. So according to Web Accessibility Initiative, accessible website enable users to perceive, understand, navigate, interact with, and contribute to the web seamlessly. So this is a screenshot of the results we received while analyzing the user sentiment using reviews from Google Play Store about this Umang app. And from the results, we understood that even though 44% of the users are satisfied with the app's performance, 43% expressed dissatisfaction with common keywords like error, bug, crash, fail. And this high percentage of negative user feedback is the main motive behind our study. So it motivated us to investigate further about the accessibility barriers, how these users' dissatisfaction related to the accessibility barriers, how it contributes to the poor user experience in the Umang platform. Since a direct app accessibility audit is not possible in the mobile phone, so we extended our research to the Umang website and determine if accessibility flows in the website is extended towards the app as well. So these are the objectives of our study: evaluate the Umang adherence to WCAG guidelines to identify areas of non-compliance and develop recommendations aimed at improving overall user experience. So prior to this study, we have done literature reviews of a previous research done about web accessibility. Among the studies conducted in India, this particular study found that majority Indian government websites do not meet level A conformance with WCAG 2.1 guidelines. And this is another study which was done in Ecuador. And this study also found that there are some accessibility problems with Google Play Store applications, specifically with tactile orientation, labeling of elements, and text contrast. And the other studies also highlights there are lacks when it's come to web accessibility, and web content accessibility guidelines are majority of the time it's overlooked. Talking about web content accessibility guidelines, it's a global standard guidelines by an initiative by World Wide Web Consortium. And the Web Content Accessibility 2.2 is the current guidelines in place. Prior to that, there were 2.0, 2.1 guidelines. And these guidelines are organized under 4 principles: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust, when it's come to accessibility of users. So the research methodology of our study is that when we during the literature review, we understood that there are various methods when it's come to analyzing the web accessibility. There is expert testing, end user testing, automated testing, and user surveys. So in this study, we used AppBot to understand the user sentiment through real reviews in Google Play Store app, and accessibility checkers to assess for assessing the accessibility of the website. So this is a screenshot from the accessibility checker of the accessibility of the website, Umang website. And this result clearly we can see where which all elements are failing when it's come to web accessibility according to the WCAG guidelines. And all these automated testing results shows that there is some areas where web accessibility is lacking in the Umang platform. And these are the major findings when it's come to the elements where the web accessibility is lacking. First one is the incorrect role attribute assignments, missing accessible names for area elements, that is accessible rich internet application elements, and incorrect heading structure, improper list structuring. So all these elements contribute to contribute to a negative accessibility, especially for users with disability. For differently abled users, they will
Excuse
be
me, ma'am.
using.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to mention you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your presentation.
Okay. So differently abled users will be using some kind of assistive technology in using these web platforms. So lacking these areas will contribute to a negative experience for them and overall user experience. So what we did is to map these results with the WCAG guidelines and how it will impact users. So the results can be viewed in the next few slides. And these are the suggestions we put forward mainly for the developers. Use a proper heading structure, ensure lists are structured correctly for proper sequencing, assign appropriate area roles, maintain a proper headings hierarchy, add area labels to all buttons, define correct area roles for menus to ensure proper recognition by assistive technologies. So to conclude my presentation, Umang is a vital platform when it's come to India's digital initiative. And for digital inclusion, when we talk about digital inclusion, it is referred as the including people from different areas, regardless of their age, their socioeconomic background, also their disability. So while implementing these, in making these improvements in Umang platform, make it more inclusive and user friendly, and it will make India's digital inclusion vision more efficient, so that no citizen will be excluded from accessing these government services. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to ask Jasky, what platforms were tested? I mean, Android, iOS, or both, or at some web interface like that.
Yeah, we for accessibility, we checked the website, that the web platform, using these
Okay.
automated websites.
Okay. And what were the most common accessibility violations found in this Umang?
Yeah. So most common violations were like I mentioned in the findings, there were lack of area elements. So when users are using some assistive technologies, they find it difficult to understand the buttons. Like what is the use of this button? They might get into a confusion. That is the common uh, lack we found in the website.
Okay, fine. Done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll be moving towards our next presentation. And the next paper to be presented is Kubernetes Scaling, a comprehensive review of scalability in Kubernetes. The paper will be presented by Thisura S. Vijayasekara.
Yes, sir. Let me share my screen.
Yes, sure.
Hope my screen is visible and I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible. You're audible. You may proceed with your presentation.
Yeah. Again, good morning. Good morning, channel pair and PS. So I'm Thisura S. Vijayasekara and Dr. Dinuka R. Vijayendra act as my co-author. So this paper is about a comprehensive review on scalability in Kubernetes. So I'm going to cover these things throughout my presentation. Let's quickly move on to the introduction part. So Kubernetes is actually a container orchestration platform. So what is container orchestration platform? So it is a platform that almost automates everything in a container lifecycle. So this may include deployment, scaling, management, and networking in containerized applications across a cluster of machines. So this Kubernetes is introduced way back in 2014 as a open source container orchestration platform by Google, and it joined to the CNCF in 2016. So this Kubernetes platform is based on Omega and Borg, another two orchestration platforms used by Google. So if we give an evidence that how impactful is this Kubernetes is, according to one survey done in 2020. They have found 93% of companies were either using or evaluating Kubernetes in production. When it comes to scaling, we can see three primary scaling mechanisms in Kubernetes. One is workload scalers. So in workload scalers, it is managing application levels. So how it is done? It is done by changing the number of pods or the resources allocated for the containers inside those pods. And the second one is node scalers. So in the node scalers, so it is actually changing the number of nodes within the cluster according to the requirements. And the last one is cluster-wide auto-scaling. It is kind of a combination of both workload scalers and node scalers. So it adjusts the resources required for critical cluster components. As an example, DNS components. So based on overall cluster size. So let's move into the literature review section. So so I will go you through a bit deep on those scaling mechanisms. So workload scalers or either pod level auto scaling in Kubernetes, the pod is the smallest deployable unit. So we can horizontally scale it as horizontally, vertically, or based on events. So in horizontal scaling, which is also known as scaling out. So in there, how it is done? So it is done using increasing or decreasing the number of replicas. In here, replica means the number of pods based on the requirement, the user requirement. So in Kubernetes, there is a built-in auto-scaling mechanism, which is known as HPA, or the horizontal pod autoscaler, which automatically adjusts the number of pod replicas in a workload. This can be a deployment stateful set or replica set. So the right now there are two versions. The version 1, which is the older one, it only based on CPU, and in version 2, it supports multiple metrics, external metrics as well. So this is the function that is used by to calculate the number of replicas or the number of pods that is required at the moment based on our our defined metrics. So in workload scaling, vertical pod scaling is used for vertical scaling. So in here, it is actually changing the dynamically adjusting the resource allocation. In Kubernetes, this is handled by a component called VPA, so which can adjust the CPU and the memory requests dynamically to match the application needs. This vertical pod autoscaler has three components, which are recommender, updater, and admission control. So recommender analyzes the actual pod resource usage and suggests the optimal CPU memory request. And updater, on the other hand, updates the updates based on the recommendations given by recommender, and admission controller, which actually do the job, which sets the accurate resource request during pod creation. And our workload scalers also supports event-driven scaling. So in here, it is changing the number of pods based on external events. So this can be a message queues or any other custom metrics. In Kubernetes, this is handled by a component called CADA, which is a Kubernetes-based event-driven autoscaler, which is a lightweight single-purpose component which we can use for event-driven scaling. So in here, you can see that those are the custom resources which comes with this CADA. So using that, we can do the event-driven scaling. When it comes to node scaling, in Kubernetes, node scaling is handled through dynamically adding or removing the nodes from the cluster to match workload demands. So right now, we have found two components that we can do node level scaling. The first one is the cluster autoscaler, which dynamically adjusts the size of the Kubernetes cluster by adding or removing the nodes. And it is also aware about constraints like pod disruption budgets, local storages, and node definity as well. So Carpenter is a quite newer one, which again also introduced by Google. So it can actually handle mixed architecture and multi-zone environments, not like cluster autoscaler. It is quite faster in scale-up times, and it is not rely on static node group approaches, which cluster autoscaler is rely on. When it comes to cluster-wide data scaling, cluster-wide data scaling handled by several components. The one is cluster proportional autoscaler. So in there, it is used two different methods. One is linear method, linear mode, and the other one is ladder mode. So in linear mode, it is used
Excuse me, sir.
as you can see.
Sorry
Yes,
to interrupt. Just wanted to mention you have 2 minutes of time left to conclude your presentation.
sure. So in linear mode, it is used this function, and the ladder mode, it is there are already predefined uh, uh, predefined those how many replicas is needed there. Cluster proportional vertical autoscaler. So it is something similar to the VPA that I have mentioned earlier. So it is defining the adjust the resource requests and limits based on for the critical system components proportional to the overall cluster size. Cluster size. So it is used these parameters. Base, max step, and cost per step, and nodes per step. So these are the research challenges and issues that we have identified. There are security challenges, so there can be economical DOS attacks. So a malicious user can fake the load triggers and do unnecessary scaling, which can ultimately uh, result in inflated cloud cost. And there can be yo-yo attacks as well, which is done by repeated scale up and scale down cycles. So with that, there can be performance degradations and cost overhead. And there is a problem with stateful workloads. So in there, as an example, that there can be zone bounded persistent volumes. So when doing work stateful workload scaling, so sometimes when using cluster autoscaler, it can prevent node addition even when there is when other zones have capacity due to this zone bound PVCs. And there are complexity and reactive nature in these existing workloads. So the multiple workloads can create conflicts and lag in scaling. And there can be resource allocation and fragmentation issues. So the inefficient scheduling will lead to wasted resources and higher cost. Kubernetes use bin packing, which can cause, again, resource fragmentation. These are the things that we have identified for future research, directions for future research. AI-driven observability and self-healing. So we can use unsupervised anomaly detections on when gathering metrics, which ultimately can get a faster mean time to recover and do predictive scaling. And also we should there's a research direction for handling scaling in stateful applications. So if we can research on PV aware autoscalers, so it will be very beneficial. And in hybrid and multi-cloud scaling strategies, there's a research gap that where we can address by optimizing scaling across heterogeneous infrastructures. We can use policy-driven placements for that. And again, predictive and proactive auto-scaling mechanisms. We can apply time series forecasting like LSTM, ARIMA to anticipate workload spikes. And also we can integrate integration of auto-scaling mechanisms to resolve conflicts between several auto-scaling mechanisms. So when it comes to conclusion, so Kubernetes provide several scaling mechanisms, but there are some challenges when it comes to reactive scaling, stateful workload scaling, and due to bin packing, there can be resource fragmentation. And there are some challenges like security risks and so on. So we can there are research future research direction should be focused on predictive auto scaling and AI driven observability, and we can if we can achieve proactive proactive auto scaling, so it will be going to resolve several issues with current setup. So these are the references that I have referred in this presentation. Thank you. That's it from my end.
Yes, sir. I will like to just ask what benchmarking tools or methods were used to evaluate scalability?
We have used AWS as our cloud provider, and we have created controlled environments and controlled environment and test environment. So in there we have deployed those all the scalars that I have mentioned there, and we have get metrics related to the CPU and memory consumptions of those controllers, and latency that provided by those controllers, and that is for quantitative analysis. And for qualitative analysis, we have we have taken some interviews with those cluster administrators, and we have used those feedbacks to do this analysis.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll be moving towards our last presentation for the session. And the last presentation will be for Vastrakalpana, AI-driven generative model for sari design creation, which will be presented by Yoga Sridhar Reddy Kakanuru. Do we have the author or any of the co-authors for this paper? Yes, sir. Now you can try. I've turned my screen off, screen share off. Now you can try to share your screen.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir, it's visible. You may proceed with your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I am Yoga Sridhar Reddy Kakanuru. Today we are going to discuss about a paper titled Vastrakalpana, Gen AI based sari design generator. When it comes to the abstract, the traditional saris in India represent a rich history, both culturally and artistically. There are many traditional techniques which are highly existed, which is of highly laborious and time consuming as well. Our project Vastra Kalpana, a Gen AI based sari design generator that uses generative deep learning models to automate textile pattern creation. When it comes to the introduction, the sari generator using generative AI, it naturally blends India's rich cultural heritage with cutting-edge technologies. It allows users to design personalized saris through simple voice commands, which are transcribed using OpenAI Whisper model, and then it processed through Stable Diffusion, which is a powerful generative AI model to create high resolution and visually striking sari images. When it comes to the literature survey, these are the models like Dolly model, diffusion models, GAN models, and stable diffusion models. Simple agenda of these models is to create high quality and high resolution images. We have chosen a stable diffusion model for that. It provides efficient computation and high detail generation of the images as well. These are the research gaps in our project. There is a lack of domain specific data sets. There is a scarcity of large labeled data sets featuring diverse sari styles, fabrics, and regional designs as well. Existing models lack understanding of traditional symbolism as well. Text to image limitations are there. 3D draping and realism. Few models allows for user-specific customization based on body measurements, skin tone, occasion, or style preference as well. And sustainability and fabric simulation. It affects practical use in textile prototyping or virtual try-on models as well. When it comes to the architecture, at first step, we're going to give some random input image to the model. Here we have two important things. One is generator and the other one is discriminator. Generator's work is to generate an image by just denoising the image again and again so that we got some realistic image finally. This sample is then will be given to the discriminator. Discriminator, it will do like, it will try to compare it with the images that are already present in the data set. It will get diffused within themselves, and then finally it's going to generate some a realistic generated image based on user's choice. Here we have two losses, generator's loss and discriminator's loss. Uh, generator's loss is nothing but how well the discriminator is able to differentiate the real and fake images, and discriminator's loss is to generate like how well the generator is fooling the discriminator that it is a real image rather than fake image. Here we follow back propagation technique so that it processes again and again so that we get some realistic image finally. This is the methodology we have used. First step is to give user input, which is of audio. You can upload the pre-recorded files or you can even record the audio at that particular point of time as well. And then this audio will be transcribed into text by using Whisper model. We have even used Google speech to text model. When it compared to accuracy, Whisper model provides good accuracy than Google speech to text as it is a open source model. And then we will be forwarding into diffusion model. Stable diffusion model, it is going to diffuse the images which are present in the dataset so that it could generate the image which is of user's choice finally. Finally, you can even download the image or you can even provide some feedback so that of which particular border the saree could be refined so that the refined image also can also be generated. We have already discussed about this. This is how our web application looks like. Here we can upload the audio here, and then the audio to text conversion will be happen by using Whisper model, and then by using stable diffusion model, we're going to generate a saree image like this, a woman with golden saree, and then a saree with a pink border on it, so that it's going to generate images like this. I'd like to conclude that like as a future enhancement, we would like to add a virtual try-on model so that the user can be able to see how the saree fits in and that how she looks like if she wears that particular saree. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to ask you, what
Yeah.
is your core motivation behind using AI for sari design generation?
Ma'am, like so many traditional methods are already existing, ma'am. But to get a personalized approach to get whatever he wants, whatever the user wants, to get that particular design with that particular border in the saree, like he can be able to see that by using mobile or laptop now, ma'am. No need to go to shops and see that practically.
Okay. And what makes sari design generation a challenging task for AI models?
It is quite a challenging task because there is no proper data set for it. Ma'am. There are many images, like there is a huge data set which contains saris plus some other things as well. So we felt challenging while we prepared the custom data set.
How was data augmentation handled to improve model performance?
Ma'am, based on borders, based on designs, and based on some region-specific things, ma'am, like Kanjivaram series, saris, pattu saris, silk saris, like that, ma'am. We have created some classes.
Okay, fine, done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, sir. Now, this concludes our session 10C, and I sincerely thank our authors for the excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this 10th version and all the previous 9 versions of the conference. We'll be happy to have you in the 11th version in 2026. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already been forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 7 to 8 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICT4SD 2025. Lastly, I also thank our session chair, Professor Anita Dumble, for chairing the session. A token of appreciation to the chair on behalf of Team ICT4SD 2025 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. Ma'am, thank you for your valuable presence.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And lastly, I kindly request you all to switch on the camera for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. It's a request to all the authors and co-authors to please switch on your cameras. Thank you all. Stay safe and take care.